Yo, what's up, YouTube? How's it going, guys? Everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Hope you guys are doing well. So let me pull the Instagram feed, and we will get going. Oh, Instagram just quit. Let me try that again. All right, let me try this. Hey, what's up, guys? Give me 1 second. My internet. Can you guys hear me okay and see me okay? My internet connection's a little bit rough. Hopefully not too bad. All right. Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm Johnathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can manifest your ideal life. And today I have just arrived in North Carolina. I just got off the plane a couple hours ago. And so I'm in North Carolina right now, studying with Michael Wynn. I'm doing a summer retreat that he has every year, learning Taoist practices, learning internal alchemy, energy cultivation. And Michael Wynn's trainings is actually where it was a big starting point in my sexual kung fu practice, right? I went to my first retreat here 5 years ago, and how much transformation I've had since then. I was just kind of reflecting on this today. The first retreat I went to back in 2016, I was broke. I was working in a kitchen cooking for like $9 an hour. I had to borrow some money from my parents to make it to the retreat. But at that point in my life, I made a decision. I was like, you know what? I always have these excuses like I can't afford this. There's always a good excuse not to do something, right? But I made a decision to do it. I was at a point in my life where I knew I needed. I was at a dead end. I was waking up every morning just feeling tired, feeling depleted. I had no focus. I couldn't focus on one thing and like see it through to the end. I had low confidence in my life. Again, I couldn't attract women. I was very shy. And so this is where I was learning about sexual kung fu practices, right? And I made a decision. I was like, I'm going to North Carolina. I'm doing this training because I feel like I need it. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. This completely transformed my life. I started studying Qigong, Taoist energy cultivation, meditation, and I learned how to the proper procedure basically to open the body to prepare for channeling sexual energy. Because if you just skip right into the advanced sexual practices, most people won't have very good results because there's these important foundations. And I learned these foundations that opened up my energy channels. I learned to feel chi, to move it through my body tangibly. And then working with sexual energy actually became effortless. And from this training, I learned how to have non-ejaculatory orgasms, completely overcame premature ejaculation. I stopped watching porn. I came home from this retreat transformed. No more porn. I was practicing semen retention effortlessly. My energy levels were through the roof. My confidence skyrocketed. Women were attracted to me all of a sudden. And this is where I started to really make some transformations in my life. Because again, back then I was working in a kitchen for $9 an hour, and I got into creating business basically, right? I learned how to take my skills and create an exchange with the world that brought abundance into my life. I started to, manifest 5-figure months, started to make all this money. And it was just, I'm telling you guys this because not like I'm trying to impress you, but I'm telling you this is what you guys can do. When you train in this work, when you train in sexual kung fu practices, you go through a massive transformation, because men in this world, pretty much everyone in this world, but men especially, a lot of men are very stuck in their life. They're stuck where they're at. And a lot of this is due to poor sexual habits, addictive habits that are depleting your energy. They're draining you, and you get stuck in these patterns, right? It's like, how do I, it's like, I want to be over here, but I'm stuck here. You have to create a change. You have to cultivate your energy, because everything is a flow of energy. The patterns that you have, it's a certain expression of the way the energy is flowing through your body. And if you have a blockage, if you feel empty inside, you're not getting enough life force flowing through you, you're going to reach out to the world for drugs, for junk food, for toxic relationships, for porn, to try to fill this emptiness within you. But that is putting a Band-Aid on the situation, right? When you gain a direct connection to the life force, the chi field, you learn to cultivate energy, connect with nature, open up your energy channels, charge yourself up. You don't need anything else. You feel amazing. You feel healthy, balanced, energized. And when you're working through sexual energy, again, it's just incredibly powerful. It's a natural high. 24/7, you're living in this radiant, vibrant state of bliss, ecstasy. And again, this is what the men in this world need, because we're at this point in time where people are under unprecedented levels of manipulation, fear-based control systems, sacrificing your freedom for comfort, basically, an illusion of security. Because men have become weakened, they're giving away their power to someone else to control them. It's like, I don't have the strength, the courage to make my own life's decisions. I'm going to hand this over to you. It's a control system. And right now in the world, we need men to step into their power. We need you to cultivate your energy, release the blockages you're holding on to, overcome the traumas that are holding you where you're at, so that you can become the divine masculine you are meant to be, so that you can become a trustworthy leader, father, husband, partner, friend, brother, right? This is what the world needs right now. When men do this work, the world will transform. And I saw this transformation within myself. I went from being this, broke, shy, addictive personality type of person to where I am now. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I've made massive, massive transformations, and you can do the same. And doing this work myself, understanding how many blockages people have and how much, this often relates to our sexual energy, our lack of connection to chi, to the life force. This is why I became so passionate about sharing sexual kung fu. And, it's a process of training, right? Sexual kung fu is a system of training. You learn to get high naturally. You learn to cultivate your chi. You start with clearing blockages, opening energy channels of the body, circulating your sexual energy. And that's exactly why, I created a course to help you guys do this. My 6-week or my 12-week course now, Multi-Orgasmic Man, is open for registration right now. Registration's open until tomorrow. I'm closing registration in just over 24 hours. So there's a link in my Instagram bio. There's a link on this YouTube video. This is your vehicle for transformation. Everything I learned in the past almost decade of my own personal training and studying, I condensed into this 12-week course. So you don't have to, skip through a lot of the bullshit I had to master this stuff, right? So this is the time, guys. Yeah, I expanded from a 6-week course to a 12-week course. And again, this course is a comprehensive guide to clear the blockages that are holding you where you're at, clearing your limiting beliefs that are making you feel small, insignificant, and afraid of being really big, pursuing your dreams, accomplishing things, right? You learn how to clear those using internal practices, breath work, meditations, and then you learn how to open up your energy channels of the body so you have a new expression of your energy other than just draining it from your body. You learn how to ground yourself, how to connect to the earth's chi to massively boost your energy and ground your sexual energy, which is important. You're going to learn how to channel sexual energy through your body, how to move that sexual energy out of the genitals and integrate it into the rest of your being. Connect it to your heart so you feel this expansion of love. Connect it to your crown so you feel the spiritual activation. And by doing this, you can practice semen retention in a holistic way. You can start to build this massive sexual power and mobilize it into creating better things other than just being driven by the sex drive. Your sex drive is massively, massively powerful. Guys, think about it. It's this desire. How many actions in your life have you taken from your sex drive? It controls you. It's unconscious, but you can make this connection conscious, harness the power of that sexual energy, direct it into something more positive, direct it into creativity, creating art, improving your skills, improving your communication, improving your relationships, improving your income, making abundance. Men who are radiating sexual vitality, radiating this magnetic sexual energy, they make more money. They are more confident, they're more attractive. So again, this course is a complete guide to master your sexual energy, have non-ejaculatory orgasms, be able to use sex or even self-pleasure as a way to boost your energy and fuel your creativity. And you're going to learn how to implement this with a partner so that you can have deep, energetic sex, conscious sex, exchange your sexual energy, have depths of sexual experience that most people can only imagine, right? So that's what's in the course, guys. Again, registration is opening in just over 24 hours. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific, I'm closing registration. So you have one more day to get in. I've got payment plans to make it flexible, and you're going to be with a community of men. This is a big realization I had this last week. I haven't even talked about what I've been doing the past week. I'll get to that. But basically, men need a brotherhood. Men need other men that they can connect with and talk about this stuff openly. I know you guys are struggling. You're struggling with porn addiction. You're struggling with sexual frustration, sexual issues, lack of energy. But it's difficult to talk to people about this, isn't it? And I've been there myself. When I was learning sexual kung fu, I was learning about semen retention. I was learning about working with sexual energy. I had no one to talk to about this. My friends thought I was crazy. And that's another reason I created this community, which this course is. It's a community of men. We have a private group where we share our experiences, share what we're going through, and it's just a place to be supported, right? And this is what men in the world really need right now. So again, guys, registration for my course, my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, is open right now. It's closing tomorrow, just over 24 hours. There's a link in my Instagram bio. There's a link in my YouTube channel on this video. So sign up for that if you're ready to transform your life and step into your masculine power. All right, I'm going to get into Q&A. One last thing I want to share. This last week was really phenomenal for me. I'm traveling all the month of July. I was just in Dallas and Oklahoma visiting some friends. My friend Eddie invited me down to Dallas. Really, really awesome guy. He's a soul brother. We're actually writing a book together. We created a bunch of content down there. We're going to turn it into a book. But I was hanging out with, my brothers down there, Eddie, Jose, Emiliano, good, really, really amazing guys. And this was, again, talking about this brotherhood. Men need other men to grow with, we inspire each other, to share, have deep conversations with, right? And so it was just a big, awesome experience of hanging out with conscious men, doing the work together, having these deep conversations, and being able to openly talk about things like semen retention, non-ejaculatory orgasms, energy cultivation, spirituality. It's really amazing. It's what men in the world need right now. So, and I'm in North Carolina now for 2 weeks of internal alchemy training with Michael Wynn. Then I'm heading down to Sedona for a workshop conference, Family Gathering of Light. You can get tickets to that. Check that out. So anyways, it's a busy month. It's been great. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining. It's good to see everyone here. Thanks for spending the time to hang out with me on a Thursday. And I'm going to answer some questions now. If you have any questions about the course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, if you have any hesitations, any questions, just let me know. Andre from Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I spent a lot of time in Hawaii. It's a beautiful place. Powerful energy. Lemuria. Okay. Argamandal says, what's your opinion on pre-cum? It seems impossible to have sex without pre-cum. I get this question every time. Basically, it's not an issue. Pre-cum is not semen. Pre-cum is it's fluid secreted by the Cowper's gland. And anytime you feel aroused, the body secretes this fluid. It's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Okay, Ruyon Sachs says, good to see you, Jonathan. Is there one meditation to do that can arrange everything, the mind and the body? For most people, no. There's the thing with meditations, there's so many different techniques, and especially with internal energy training, everything's foundational. It's like first you start with this, and then you lay that foundation. Then you do this. Now that you have that foundation, it builds upon itself, right? So if it was as simple as just doing one thing, we wouldn't need comprehensive internal energy training systems, Taoist energy cultivation, Neidan, yogic trainings. We wouldn't need all these things if there was just one thing you could do that did everything, right? But I will say, some good starting points, maybe. Microcosmic orbit's phenomenal, very balancing. But the microcosmic orbit's amplified if you build your Dantian first. Dantian breathing, I have a practice on my YouTube channel. So, basically everything's sequential and layered. But okay, one really fantastic practice that I would recommend, nothing else, it's called the Inner Smile. I teach this in my course, but basically it's this meditation where you go within and you smile to your body. A smile is it's an acceptance, right? It's like you go into a foreign country and you don't speak the language, but people smile at you and you feel accepted, right? It's so that's what you're doing to various aspects of your personality, your subtle energy bodies. When you do this practice, this inner smile, as you smile to them, you send this radiant acceptance. It's coming from a deeper level. It's not coming from your personality. It's coming from your soul. So you're able to look at the various layers of your being, your emotions, your patterns, your traumas, blockages, whatever, and smile at these things, allowing them to dissolve because you bring light, you bring acceptance to them, right? So Gary Vellon says, is edging the same as self-pleasure? I mean, edging, it depends how you define it, right? Self-pleasure could be a lot of things. You could like massage your shoulder and that would be self-pleasure, right? Edging typically is you're like riding the edge of where you would ejaculate, but you're not ejaculating, right? Is what a lot of people call edging. So it depends. If you have a more specific question about that. Okay, here's a question that's kind of, okay. Joe asks, is it good to have practice girls to build confidence? First of all, this is I don't recommend looking at females as training partners. I don't recommend objectifying other humans. This is a person who has emotions, who has feelings. This is maybe a daughter. Oh, definitely, if it's a woman, it's a daughter, a mother, a sister, right? So to objectify someone and be like, oh, I need a training, she's a practice girl. That's a very distorted, destructive, toxic viewpoint of another human being, right? Sexuality, sex is a deep, intimate connection. This person is allowing you in their body. They're allowing you into the deepest parts of themselves. Please have some respect, right? Never see someone as a practice partner and just a practice girl, right? It's going to build some weird karma for yourself. As far as, having sex with someone, yes, developing experience with sexual kung fu. I mean, obviously, sexual cultivating with another person has a lot of value to it, and it's going to be a learning process in itself. But it should never be primarily just to like develop some skill, that you can use with someone else and who's better that you in your mind, right? A relationship is a deep intertwining of two souls, two energy, well, many energies, right? And understand there's many things happening in a subtle level. Sex is not something that should be taken lightly. There's a deep, intimate connection. And if humans in general continue to just unconsciously have sex with people because they're drunk, because they're just feeling horny, without any deeper layer of connection, it's just going to continue to create these wounds and these traumas that we have around sexuality. When it's disconnected from heart, disconnected from love, from joy, from spiritual connection, then sex becomes destructive. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Red Sage Holistic asks, what's the internal alchemy training you're doing now? So this retreat I'm doing two different classes. One is Greatest Kanan Lee, Kanan Lee it's advanced internal alchemical practices, Neidan as it's known, right? And basically what you're doing is you're taking the forces of the body, the elemental processes of the energy bodies, and combining them into yin and yang energies, fire and water. And you're coupling these within your central channel of your body to create a third force, Yuan Qi, the neutral force. I know it's a bit esoteric. I don't really teach this stuff at this point, but this is what I practice, right? So Greatest Kanan Lee is planetary alchemy. So you connect with the 5 elemental energies of the planets, connecting with the astrological qualities of them, coupling the sun and the inner earth, and cultivating chi from the planets, basically. And then I'm doing heaven earth alchemy, which is coupling formless and form within your vessel, your body. And I've never done that level before, so I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'll share more about it. But I know this is a bit abstract, but this is some, Michael Wynn's higher level internal alchemy training. But he does a Qigong fundamentals class that's phenomenal. He does healing love, which is sexual energy, and all kinds of things. But that's what I'm studying this year. Kevin says, can I teach one day what I learned from you in Germany? So I'm working on kind of brainstorming, but I'm going to be putting together a teacher training of this work because I think the world needs more teachers of Qigong, meditation, sexual Kung Fu. So I'm going to be putting together a teacher training. I don't, well, that's all I'm going to say. Yes. So stay tuned. I will be offering a teacher training in the future. Karim says, how to prevent wet dreams. Check out my video on preventing wet dreams. I've talked about this on so many lives that I don't want to, say the same things over and over again. But basically, most common things, unresolved sexual desires, and the body gets too hot at night, or you just have old sperm that's dying, the body needs to release it. Your body eventually semen retention is not like the sperm live forever. Eventually they die. The body either reabsorbs them, recycles the nutrients, or you urinate a lot of it out, or you release it in a wet dream. But it can also just be the body needs an orgasm because you're not allowing yourself sexual pleasure, right? So watch my YouTube video on preventing wet dreams to go more in depth with that. Gustavo says, do you drink coffee? No, I haven't drank coffee. I have not had coffee in I'd say 10 years, maybe longer. Taps out my adrenals. When I began Qigong, I became very, very sensitive to substances I put in my body. I can't do caffeine anymore. If I had coffee in the morning, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. That's how sensitive I've become to it. I don't need it either. I'm stimulated from working with Qi. Usually if you rely on stimulants, if you can't get up in the morning without a cup of coffee, you're burned out. Your adrenals are tapped, basically. And it's extremely common in our world, but it's not, basically you want to rebuild the adrenals so that you don't require stimulants, because stimulants tap into your energy reserves. You release adrenaline, you release cortisol, which gives you this impression you have more energy, but really you're in fight or flight mode. You're stressed. And this is really, does not go well in conjunction with sexual cultivation. That's my, it's going to be different for everyone, but that's been my experience with it. David says, what is your opinion of those girls who do OF? I think you're talking about OnlyFans and that type of content. Why is this so normal nowadays? Well, again, this comes down to so many levels of trauma, of distorted patterns we have of sexuality. And, and I don't want to project things on people, if there's women watching who have an OnlyFans, but just understand, where is this really coming from? Some of it is a desire for attention because, you get enough attention from your mother, your father, your friends, whatever. Some of it's for money. It's a desperate act to make money because men are willing to pay money to look at some random girl and project sexual energy at her on the internet, right? So there's just so much trauma and imbalance around this, obviously. I don't know how much I'm going to go into this right now, but it just kind of shows you where we're at in our sexuality, right? As a species. Ibhasin says, how did you get over your performance anxiety and fear of meeting women? Practicing sexual kung fu. You start cultivating your energy, you get grounded, and you start to radiate this energy, and you just feel good. You feel confident. You don't feel empty inside anymore. You're like, oh, I feel really good. And there's no longer the space of neediness. Oh, I need this person's approval. I need this person to feel a certain way about it. You just don't care anymore. Whatever. I love myself. I appreciate myself. I'm cultivating myself. If this person doesn't like me, I don't care. So, and performance anxiety around sex, you train. You take my free ejaculation control course, even better, take my 12-week course. You'll learn everything you need to know about overcoming premature ejaculation and building powerful sexual endurance. You train on yourself and you see, wow, okay, I can start to actually control this arousal. And now I'm getting familiar of what to do when I become aroused instead of just oh shit, panicking. Now I can move it through my body. You develop confidence by being able to do that. And then you integrate it with a partner and you know what to do. It's not a big deal anymore. So training basically, and cultivating your energy. And that's, there are a lot of men who've gone through my course. I hear so many amazing stories. There was one guy, Adam, good friend now. He said that he could only last 5 minutes during sex. And he was smoking weed every day. He was drinking a lot. He went through the sexual kung fu course. He got hooked on Qigong practice. He's now that's what I get high from. He's I'm starting to feel the energy flowing through my body tangibly. I have more energy than I've ever had. And I'm not smoking weed or drinking alcohol anymore. So he got hooked on the internal practices, which I did as well, right? And he said that he went from lasting 5 minutes during sex to lasting over an hour. And he was sharing recently that he's attracted an amazing partner and he's giving her powerful orgasms and just having amazing sex. So this is what happens when you do this work, guys. So again, that's my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. The results it can bring. It's link in my Instagram bio, link on this YouTube video. All right, Justin from Marshall, North Carolina. What's up, Justin? We're right in town. I'm in North Carolina right now. He says, I'm interested in the retreat you attend. How can I get in touch with Michael Wynn? Go to healingdaousa.com, healingdaousa.com, and you'll see Michael Wynn's retreat information. All right, with fire says, can you avoid flat lines with Qigong and energetic work? I know you have, but has there been others that you know who diminished much the flatline experience? Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of people who go through my course, they're getting charged. This is the common thing I hear is like all the people are taking the course, they're doing all this Qigong, these breathwork practices, these internal practices, like, wow, like I have so much more energy. This is what I was missing when I was trying to do like no fap or semen retention. I was doing it the wrong way. Now, know how to clear out blockages that are often causing some of that fatigue, and cultivating energy to feel supercharged. And it makes the whole experience a lot more smooth. Is it going to completely release the flat line? It's difficult to say. There's a lot of factors to this. There's a lot of different factors that are affecting your energy levels, right? But overall, the system that I practice and teach it's phenomenal. I didn't really experience the flat line. Joe says, okay, restated. I appreciate that. When starting sexual kung fu, is it a good idea to tell a partner who is also interested in a similar practice to be upfront, to build the skills and the confidence together? Yeah, so that's the much better way of putting it than practice partner. And maybe I project a little bit on what you said, but I have seen men kind of take that mentality with these, kind of seeing women as objects to practice with, right? Which is very unhealthy. So yeah, so no, it's good to be upfront with your partner and be like, hey, I'm learning this practice, and first of all, it's good to do most of your training on your own. First of all, so it's not like, okay, you're my training partner now. We can't, be as romantic in a relationship. But if your partner's open to be like, hey, let's explore. You don't want to make it too like technical, like, hey, let's practice this exercise together. I mean, maybe they're up for that, but hey, let's explore new dimensions of sexual experience. Let's explore what it's like to move sexual energy through our bodies. Let's explore what it's like for me not to ejaculate during sex and consciously exchange our energy together. So yeah, then it becomes an experience. It becomes an exploration, and your partner's there learning with you as well. So I think that's a great approach. The God says, what to do about wet dreams? I already answered this. I've made several videos on preventing wet dreams. Anything I have said in those videos, anything I say here has already been said in those videos. I don't want to repeat myself a lot on these. So check those videos out. How old am I? You Sabino says, how old are you? I am 32 years old. Okay. Lamborghini X09 says, since I started Qigong, I've noticed I have a natural high afterwards. I used to smoke herb daily and cut down to the weekends. When I do smoke, I don't get as high prior to Qigong. Why is this? So yeah, I noticed this myself, like this natural high. That's why I got into Qigong. I was like, whoa, like I used to need to like take substances to feel this way. And now I don't need them anymore. Plus I don't have that like come down and like hangover, brain fog. I just feel good 24/7. Like this is a sustainable high. I'm going to focus on doing Qigong instead of taking drugs, right? And you say you don't get as high when you do smoke prior to Qigong. This could be different things. Maybe you're more grounded. Your energy is a bit more balanced. So you just feel, grounded. You're just like, okay, I can handle more intense experiences within, my neural networks, whatever, without feeling too altered. So, it's difficult to say exactly why, but you're already living in a state of highness in some way, right? The miniature painting tutor says, would retention affect sleep in somebody new to it? Potentially. If you use masturbation as a sleep aid, which is like, you're throwing away your energy so you feel fatigued, then yeah, all of a sudden you have energy, then you're more energized. And if you're not like balanced, keeping your body balanced with exercise, proper diet, nutrition, breath work, you're like sitting in front of the screen right before you go to sleep, then because you're no longer depleted, you're gonna have trouble sleeping, right? So be aware of these things. But balancing the energy semen retention is essential. And I teach you how to have a holistic lifestyle with semen retention in my 12-week course, Multi-Orgasmic Man. It used to be a 6-week course. I keep saying 6-week course, but it's a 12-week course. Now I expanded it. I've added new material. It's huge. I've never seen a course like this, guys. Rant on it a bit more. I've taken a lot of other people's courses who are teaching this stuff. People who are, teaching these types of practices, and I've never seen as much content as what I'm sharing in my course. Gary Velen says, which is better, no-fap or semen retention? So here's the thing. And again, how you define, no-fap, semen retention, these things are just words. How you define them is going to be different, right? But the general impression I get and what I see with people who kind of identify with these things, let me take a drink of water here. It's going to be good. So no-fap. Typically what I see in guys doing no-fap is a suppression of their sexual energy. It's like, oh, okay, no-fap is I don't jerk off anymore. I don't look at porn anymore. That's it. I not allow myself to feel sexual desires. I have to distract myself. It's not a very sustainable lifestyle. Whenever you try to suppress your sex drive, you can for a little while. It's like holding a spring in a closet. Like you shove it in there like, okay, I've got a hole in this thing, but it starts to build more and more and more force as that sex drive, grows, as it builds up within you. And then the second you start to lose your grip, it explodes out. You have some weird expression of your sexual energy that's disharmonious. All of a sudden, it turns you into a beast. It turns you into a sexual weirdo, something like this. We see this a lot of times, right, in some esoteric circles. But doing this approach, simply trying to suppress your energy, like, okay, I'm just not going to engage in sexual thoughts or actions anymore. First of all, it's very unlikely you're actually going to do that for the rest of your life. Second of all, you're not gaining any skill working with that sexual energy, because that's what you really want to do to get the benefits of it. The true benefits is to have a direct conscious connection with your sexual energy, allow it to move in your body. When you're just forcing it, like, no, you can't make me do things. You're compressing it in your genitals, creating a blockage over time, creating stagnance. This is why guys get irritable. They have insomnia. They get really angry. They just turn into, maniacs, because they're doing semen retention, no-fap, whatever, in the wrong way, right? The other experience, which, we could say semen retention, it's the sexual kung fu approach that I'm going to describe, is you are, instead of suppressing the sexual energy, you're redirecting it. You're giving it another pathway to move in the body. Your sexual energy should always be, expressed and moved through the body. Otherwise, all this pressure builds up, it becomes stagnant. So the sexual kung fu approach is to create a new pathway for the sexual energy to flow. You don't have to stop masturbating if you don't want to. You must stop ejaculating frequently, but not, you can have orgasms, have sex. This is another thing, is guys doing no-fap, they do it and then they get into a relationship and they just go back to ejaculating frequently. And this is still draining your energy. So with semen retention, with the sexual kung fu approach, you learn how to have non-ejaculatory orgasms. So you completely remove this addiction you have to ejaculation, and now you can have sexual pleasure, sexual experiences, which are deeply nourishing to us, and orgasms without depleting your energy. And this is the highest approach, because now you can take that powerful sexual energy you're cultivating, direct it in the body, direct it into other things, and you turn into a superhuman, basically, right? Orgasm is essential to our experience as humans. It's important to our DNA, our cells. Our cells reproduce properly when we live orgasmically. Our DNA changes when we have orgasms regularly, but excessive ejaculation is the problem. So having non-ejaculatory orgasms fixes that problem. Royun Sachs says, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It says, is Kundalini energy the same as sexual energy? I think that they're, it's a good question. It's difficult to say exactly, because, can we scientifically pause there. Can we scientifically take Kundalini? These things haven't really been studied on. It's difficult to, with our current science instruments, really dissect these things. But I would say my own impression is that Kundalini energy is, they describe it as being this dormant energy at the spine, and when it awakens, it travels up the spine, activates the higher energy centers of the body. You have this spiritual awakening. I had a Kundalini experience where I felt that pulsing energy up my spine, had this powerful crown, third eye opening, had an experience of oneness with the universe, transcending time and space, and it changed me. It completely changed me. But Working with sexual energy, circulating that, bringing that upward in the body, is kind of the same pathway, right? But you're not necessarily having that intensive experience. It can become that intense. So I think there's a relationship between sexual energy and Kundalini energy. Maybe it kind of, sexual energy can turn into that Kundalini experience. Again, it's difficult to say, but I will say that I've had these, Kundalini type experiences during full body orgasm experiences with my partner, and things like that. Shane Warks says, "Can you do too much reverse Kegel? If you're like pushing so hard that you're like blowing something, you don't want to do reverse Kegels like ridiculously hard. It should just feel like a nice gentle stretching and stretching out the pelvic floor. And if you're doing that, I don't think you can really do that too much unless, you're like, again, you're like blowing something out or something. But in general, if you do reverse Kegels a reasonable amount, unless you're doing it 24/7, you should be fine." Cisco Graciano says, "What is the relationship between love and sexual kung fu?" It's a good question. There's a powerful connection here. And this is an essential part of the sexual kung fu system, is love. Because men, typically, we've been conditioned to really close down our hearts. We don't let ourselves feel. We don't let ourselves love and express. And especially this disconnection between the sexual center and the heart. As we grow up, when we learn about sex through porn, this distorted expression of sex, we start to take that on as our only experience, our only way of experiencing sex. We learn lust at a young age, and that becomes our only experience of sex. So it creates this disconnect between the sexual center and the heart, which causes us to only have ejaculatory orgasms. Lust is this heavy, dense energy, and it's going to pull everything down, and it wants to be released from your body. It's difficult to have a higher sexual experience only out of lust. Sexual kung fu practices, you're directing the sexual energy, connecting it to the heart center. So you're reestablishing this connection between the heart and the genitals so that you bring in the quality of love. This is essential. Having sex without love, it's unfulfilling. You can never be satisfied from it. It makes you feel empty in the long run. It makes you feel depleted. But when you have this experience of loving connection with someone, it transforms your sexual experience. The heart energy has this radiant, powerful quality. The heart field, the electromagnetic field of your heart is 10 times more powerful than that of the brain. It's a powerful energy generator. But when you learn to direct that sexual energy up, connect with the heart space, it creates this light, upward flow of energy. It transforms your sexual energy into something more light, which then makes it really easy to have these full body orgasm experiences, non-ejaculatory orgasms. When you're feeling deep love and connection to a partner and engaging in this, this more conscious way of tantric sex, it becomes a very blissful experience. And it becomes easy to control your ejaculation because, again, it's this light quality of love versus that heavy quality of lust, just thinking about sexual imagery, body parts, visual stimulation. It's a completely different experience, right? Versus feeling your body, feeling love, feeling connection, feeling joy and bliss. It's a transformative experience. I don't know what to do. Loco Malo says, "Weird question. Would you feed me your seed for $1 million in Bitcoin? I think it'd be a great come up." $1 million Bitcoin, that's a lot of money, but I'm not going to touch that one. Speaking of which, guys, it's a good idea to put your money into things other than fiat currency, which is it's imaginary money. When your money is just a digital number in a bank system, it's not real. It's not backed by anything. There's some financial changes rolling out on the planet. Inflation's been massively increasing because they've been pumping out trillions of dollars, which makes your money less and less valuable. U.S. dollar has decreased in value by, I want to say like 90% or more. Things haven't really gotten more expensive. The dollar's just decreased. So it's a very good idea to put your money into tangible assets. Silver is a good one. Cryptocurrencies, right? So just going to throw that out there, guys. It's not a bad idea in these changing times. With Fire says, I have a fleshlight I use to build endurance and energy after retaining 2 months and above. I can barely pump without contractions. Tips to help this. First of all, these, fleshlight type things, they can be good training tools, but they can also be very overstimulating. They're still a bit unrealistic, right? And they tend to put a lot of stimulation on the frenulum of your penis. You want to avoid stimulating this area of your penis as much as possible during sex, because the frenulum, so here's the penis, this is the frenulum. It's basically the nerves in that area connect to the prostate, which connects to that spasm. So when they're really stimulated, it's that involuntary contraction. So, beware of that. And also it's just a matter of staying relaxed, right? It's training. Try using different types of stimulation and see if you can stay relaxed in the pelvic floor area. This is a major part, again, of sexual control. And also, when you do a lot of edging, like you're really on the edge during sex, during masturbation, whatever, what happens is a lot of fluid starts to get moved into the prostate, because the prostate basically gets pumped full of fluid before you ejaculate. So it's like the prostate builds to maximum tension, and when you go over the edge, it starts pumping, shooting out the fluid. That's what happens when you ejaculate. So if you don't kind of release that buildup of tension and fluid from the prostate, so when you're going 2 months at a time without ejaculating, you can build up a lot of pressure there. So massaging the prostate either directly or indirectly by placing a tennis ball under your perineum, sitting on it, acupressing that, helps to release some of that fluid so you don't have all that hypertension in your pelvic floor and prostate area. So hopefully that's helpful. And I go way more in depth into this stuff in my multi-orgasmic man course, which is open for registration for 24 hours, just over 24 hours now. Arga Mandal Fitness says, how do we protect our energy? While I'm on semen retention, many people are consciously or unconsciously stealing energy from me, and I'm feeling depleted. As an empath, it feels really frustrating. Welcome to planet Earth. Something always wants to feed off you. Boundaries, grounding. Building chi is important, but being able to manage that and make sure you're not just leaking it and sending it out around you is important as well. Qigong is a fantastic practice. You start to build specific pathways of energy. You start to program your energy to flow in specific ways. Microcosmic orbit, major important practice. You're creating an energetic boundary. It's like this egg, this cocoon of energy, up the back, down the front, creates this vortex in your body. And so you're not so likely to get leached off of, so to speak. Staying connected to the earth as well, grounding, really, really important. I teach how to ground your sexual energy in my multi-orgasmic man course, which is an essential thing as well. So when you're in interactions with people, when you're out in the world, just be aware of your body. Be aware of, am I starting to tense up? Is my breath getting really shallow? And just feel your energy body, feel your body, feel your feet on the earth, connect to the earth, and feel the space around your body. You can see like a golden sphere around your energy body, and like, okay, this is my bubble. Only love in, only love out. Francisco Beckman says, I'm practicing I'm practicing Dantian breathing and microcosmic orbit meditation to get in touch with my energy. Any other practices to get skill for working with sexual energy? Qigong is huge. Qigong is going to really teach you how to tangibly feel the energy. I have a Qigong playlist on my YouTube channel. The testicle breathing, orgasmic breathing practice. I have a guided testicle breathing practice on my YouTube channel. I go way more in depth to it into my multi-orgasmic man course. That's a practice to move your sexual energy through your body, basically. So check that out. Shane Warks says, got another question. I noticed you squeeze your muscle when you ejaculate. What happens if I get full control of that muscle? Does the ejaculation stop, or how does that work? Okay, so yeah, Ejaculation is basically a tension response. As I was talking about, this fluid starts to build up in the prostate. This pressure starts to build up as you're becoming more and more aroused, as there's more and more stimulation on your penis, specifically in the frenulum area, right? And when this tension reaches a maximum point, then you have these involuntary spasms and you ejaculate. So it's this squeezing response in the pelvic floor intensifies that, right? So theoretically, yes, if you can override that pelvic floor tension, then you can have these non-ejaculatory orgasms. But it's still not going to be exact. It's still not going to be exactly the same as the ejaculatory orgasm, because part of what makes the ejaculatory orgasm what it feels like is that spasming, the clenching, the squeezing of the prostate, shooting out fluid. We identify that as an orgasm. That become typically for men. It's like that's the only experience of an orgasm. But non-ejaculatory orgasms, they feel different. And you can hover right on the edge of hitting ejaculation, but you're just keeping the pelvic floor relaxed. You get these powerful orgasm states. It builds up in the belly, builds up in the whole body. And it's like that feeling right before you ejaculate, but you're able to sustain it and move it through your whole body. And it can be even much more intense than that. That's kind of one form of non-ejaculatory orgasm. Ooh, it's raining out. I love it. I love it here in North Carolina. It's so beautiful. Everything's so green. Lots of wood energy. You know, the green, the growing, a lot of water energy. All the rivers and waterfalls. It's a very elementally balanced place. Okay, Nick's Sebag asking about basically the scrotal compression technique. It's taught in Tao Seekers of Love. Asking about the technique. So I don't practice this anymore. Michael Wynn himself, who he co-wrote that book, right? He says he doesn't recommend the practice anymore because basically you're trying to compress energy into your genitals, right? Which most men have too much energy there as it is. It's not a technique that I use, so I can't really comment too much on this. Oh, here's a good question. I almost didn't see this one. Richard Barron Brickwork says, can you talk about the importance of foundational practice? This is huge. This is what a lot of other people I see teaching this stuff, they completely miss this, and it really suffers from the results of the people learning from them. Basically, so here's the thing, right? You want to have powerful non-ejaculatory orgasms, full body orgasms, incredible spiritual, energetic experiences, right? You have to do foundational work. And most people just want to go straight to the sexual techniques, but it's like trying to run before you even know how to walk. Basically, it's essentially what it is. You don't have the right foundations in place. Your energy channels aren't opened up. Best case, it doesn't work. Worst case, you energetically injure yourself with getting sexual energy in the wrong place of the body. You don't know how to, deal with it. It amplifies unconscious patterns. This is the potential disasters of sexual energy cultivation without having the proper skills. The foundational practices are basically qigong, breath work, meditation practices. Basically, you need to have a clear container. If you're going to, let's look at it this way. If you have an electrical system, it's like old rusty wiring, it's kind of falling apart. You hook it up to a 500 volt battery. It's going to be very dangerous. Same thing with your body. You must prepare your body to hold a higher voltage of energy. Sexual energy is very powerful. It's very high voltage. It amplifies things. It bonds you to things. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't have the body prepared to do this, it can be a disaster. So, but especially for trying to have non-ejaculatory orgasms, full body orgasms, it's like you're trying to move energy from the genitals and other places of the body, but everything's shut down. There's no pathway to move it in. So like best case, you're just frustrated. It doesn't work. So the foundations, which, in my multi-orgasmic man, I am very extensive on these foundations. And I think that's why a lot of men have powerful success from this course, is because I really expand on foundations. This is what led me to practice Qigong. Actually, I was trying to learn from Multi-Orgasmic Man, Montauk Chu's book, the book Multi-Orgasmic Man, right? I was trying to learn from this book, and it just wasn't really working. I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling this, but like something's just not happening here. And eventually I realized, it's because I haven't been working with the microcosmic orbit. I don't do Qigong practice. I don't vent excessive heat from the body. I haven't cleared the blockages I have. And I went and did that foundational work. I studied Qigong. I studied, microcosmic orbit, healing sounds to release blockages from the body. And when I did all this work, when I started practicing Qigong every day, I started circulating energy through my body every day, just the regular energy. Then when I went to do the sexual practices, it was effortless. It was actually pretty easy because you already have all the foundations in place. You have all the pathways opened up. You know how to direct energy. So moving your aroused sexual energy becomes much easier. Trying to go straight to working with aroused sexual energy without any skill in basic energy circulation, it's like trying to, you've never rode a horse before and you're on a wild, crazy horse. It's just, you have no control. Same thing with sexual energy. But when sexual energy is very aroused sexual energy as a man, it's very volatile. It's difficult to control. It has certain pathways of expression that you get ingrained into, right? So working with just the subtle energy of the body in an unaroused state, first of all, you get familiarity with these channels. It's a less pressure situation, right? And then you already have this natural pathway developed and it becomes much easier to move the aroused sexual energy through. So that's the importance of the foundations. Royon Sachs says, I did semen retention for 1 month without sexual transmutation. And after releasing, I didn't have the desire I used to have before that month. Is there a blockage that happened? What should I do? I'm not exactly sure. You're saying like you retained for a month, didn't really do any practice with it, and then you ejaculated and you didn't have the desire you used to have before, like sexual desire. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what you're asking, what you're saying, but my interpretation is that, yeah, you went a month with doing semen retention without really doing any practice either. Then you ejaculated, and then you didn't really feel like strong sexual desire. So when you're practicing semen retention, when you first begin semen retention, you've been ejaculating every day for years, whatever. Then you do semen retention, the body starts to repair itself. The body starts to, you're starting to actually fill up your gas tank after years of being empty. And in the beginning, you might actually feel a bit fatigued from this because you're allowing yourself to feel that depletion, to feel that emptiness, instead of just stimulating yourself with more porn, more masturbation, more ejaculations, whatever, right? You're actually feeling where your energetic state is, which is a state of depletion, potentially. I'm not saying you are depleted, but potentially, right? So, for me, it actually took years to fully build up from the energy I had, wasted through excessive ejaculations, right? But once I did, I felt phenomenal, right? So I'm not exactly sure if this is in line with what you were asking, but kind of my interpretation of this. The miniature painting tutor says, it took me years before I felt real love. At times, I still think it's part of the full picture. Yeah. So again, a lot of men in this world and a lot of people in general, our hearts get shut down, maybe because we were abused as children. There was mean things said to us as children. Your girlfriend, your boyfriend hurt you when you were a teenager, whatever. You feel that heartbreak and you shut down. So it's like, okay, this is too pain. Life is too much. Life is too painful. I'm going to shut down the center so I don't feel anything. And we live the rest of our lives like that, So it's kind of the pattern that we have as humans. So it's why it's so important to allow yourself to feel things, allow yourself to open and to feel and to have the full experience of being human. Because when you're living life with a closed heart, it's numb. It's boring. You live life through logic, well, I should be doing this. Okay, I'm going to do these things, but you never feel that passion, that love, that heart fire that transforms us. ILC 86 says, while aroused, I was practicing deep breathing with no physical stimulation, forcing ingredients on the perineum area. I was feeling a pleasant sensation. Is this a form of prostate massage? Not sure what you mean by forcing ingredients. Oh, focusing on the perineum area. So yeah, you're breathing deep, you're feeling aroused, you're focusing on that area of the perineum. This can naturally stimulate the prostate. I wouldn't say it's a prostate massage, but it can be like a activation of that energy of that area. And here's a question. on YouTube from Gary Vellon says, what is your opinion on prostate orgasm? So prostate orgasm, I made a video on this, but one of the most intense orgasms I had in my life was a prostate orgasm from prostate stimulation alone. And it wasn't like, vigorous prostate stimulation. It's just, I had a prostate massager inserted and I was just laying there. It wasn't moving or anything. It was just kind of how you do this, right? And I was just focusing on that area and it started to awaken the prostate. It took an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. It takes time to do this. This is, it's a yin experience for men, right? Working with the prostate orgasm. But it built up just by focusing on this area, by maintaining arousal, eventually started building into this powerful, crazy powerful, cosmic full body Kundalini orgasm experience. Is super powerful. So yeah, I think that it could be a very healing and expanding experience for men to do this. Check out my YouTube video on prostate orgasms for, more of an explanation on that. Mustafa Muhammad says, how do you stop porn? Find something better to put your energy into. Find something that makes you feel good, that's not draining your energy, right? Porn is a very, very, very addictive. It's probably more addictive than opiates because it's there available. Anyone who has connection to the internet, which is pretty much everyone on the planet now, can be looking at porn within like 5 seconds, right? So, and this was systematically put in place to control us, right? Porn is a control system, so it's difficult to break out of. I understand, but instead of my recommendation is, instead of trying to stop porn, like putting all your energy into, no, I can't do this, no, I can't do that. You're fighting something. It's contraction. It's unsustainable. Focus on, okay, you don't want to watch porn. What do you want to do instead? What do you want to fill the void that would be created by not watching porn in your life with instead? Because if you don't have something new, then you're just going to have this empty space and you're probably going to go back to porn or fill it with something else addictive. So ask yourself, who do you want to be? If you don't want to watch porn, what do you want to do with that time? Do you want to work out, exercise? Do you want to practice Qigong, meditation? Do you want to do something creative? Hang out with friends, learn a musical instrument? So you need something else to put your energy and focus into instead, right? And at the same time, practicing sexual kung fu, creating a new pathway of expression within your body of your sexual energy. When you start to have the experience of connected sex, connected self-love, where instead of it being about, oh, I need to, yeah, it feels good, I need to rush into this ejaculatory orgasm, 5 seconds of bliss, and then I'm wiped out, right? Instead of that experience, one of circulating the sexual energy upwards in your body as you're building it, as it's arousing, connecting it to your heart, connecting it to your crown, your spiritual expression, it gives you a completely different experience of sex, of orgasm. And it's so much more powerful and potent that after you have, a deep sexual intertwining with yourself or a partner, you're not really probably going to go back to watching porn. At least that's how it was for me personally. Apothecus Healing says, what practices should I look into for semen retention? I want to still cultivate my inner chi and bring that energy up the spine. Yeah, so this is what I'm teaching how to do. I've got many practices on my YouTube channel, microcosmic orbit, Qigong, testicle breathing. These are the practices that you want to do when you're doing semen retention. And I've got a whole course on how to, in depth, how to clear the blockages, open up the energy channels, circulate the sexual energy through so you can have non-ejaculatory orgasms or just channel your sexual energy into amazing things. Okay, Derek Trevino says, in the Moral Energy Arts, this is my other online course, do I give out daily practices? How long are the practices each day? You're doing the Sexual Kung Fu Multi-Orgasmic Man practice each day, but would also like to learn what I'm teaching in IA. So once you've gone through Multi-Orgasmic Man, Immortal Energy Arts, I'd say it's kind of the next level. And it's based around 15 to 30 minutes of daily practice, what you're learning from that course. And there's also just the Qigong program, but there's also Tai Chi Xingyi programs. So it depends how crazy you want to get with it, right? But just in general, adding, 15 30 minutes to your practice with that is going to bring great results. Kenneth Stevenson says, how subtle is the non-ejaculatory energy? I've heard you say it's so subtle that it could be overlooked. It's subtle in the beginning. It's subtle because we as men identify with one type of orgasm, which is this intense ejaculatory spasming shooting out. And this is because we're so overstimulated. First of all, we're so ingrained to only that, having that expression of sex and orgasm, but also our nervous system's so overstimulated. We're thinking about all these things. We're being bombarded with all this information. And so if it's not like, loud, obvious in our face, we don't notice it. And this is why, again, such an important part of this practice of opening to non-ejaculatory orgasms is doing energy work, opening up your energy channels, doing meditation practices so that you start to gain a much higher level of sensitivity to what's happening in your body. Because again, you could be having non-ejaculatory orgasms, or at least the beginnings of them, but not even feeling them because you're so goal-oriented and like, okay, this feels good, but like, I want more, I want more, I want more. I want the ejaculatory orgasm. You're disconnecting from yourself, from your body, from the present moment. You're in your mind, and then it's all over in 5 seconds, right? This is the pattern that men get stuck in. So it is going to be subtle in the beginning. So that's why I encourage you to redefine orgasm simply as a pleasurable sensation that's outside your normal experience. And then you can start to build on that, right? It's like, forget you ever had an orgasm ever. And just imagine you were approaching sexual experiences brand new. And now, like, okay, how pleasurable was this experience? How pleasurable was this sensation? So that gives you kind of a fresh slate to experience this from, right? But with time, these non-ejaculatory orgasms build and build to become much more intense and overall, fulfilling than ejaculatory orgasms. All right, I'm about to lose my Instagram feed. I will pull it back up. All right, guys, I'm going to do just a few more questions and then jump off of here. In just a second here. All right, my Instagram doesn't work. That's okay. I'm going to wrap up anyway. I think we've answered all the questions. Well, guys, thank you for joining me. Always good to see you guys. Always good to hang out, and it's fun to just hang out with you guys, answer questions, and share whatever I know. Hopefully, it's helpful. Again, Multi-Orgasmic Man is open for registration for just over 24 hours now. Coming down to the last just under 24 hours to still get into this course. This is your complete guide to being able to have a more evolved experience, to channel your sexual energy into non-ejaculatory orgasms, full body orgasms, overcome premature ejaculation, and have an abundance of creative energy to channel into manifesting your ideal life. So again, just link in this description of this video. Thank you guys. I should be able to go live same time next week. Yeah, take care, guys. I will see you next time.